So Damien wanted me to share my experience with Coursera, and I'm currently taking a course called Learning How to Learn Powerful Mental Tools to Help You Master Difficult Subjects, and I just wanted to share some fun facts about that course. So there's two modes that your brain can operate in, the focus mode and the diffuse mode. Unfortunately, your brain cannot operate with both modes at the same time. The focus mode involves direct approach problem solving using rational, sequential, analytical approaches. It's also associated with concentration abilities of the brain prefrontal cortex. The diffuse mode of thinking allows us to gain sudden new insight on a problem we've been struggling with and is associated with big picture perspective. Diffuse mode thinking happens when you relax your attention and just let your mind wander. Now, the way Salvador Dali used to access the diffuse mode is he would sit in a chair with a key in his hand and just let his mind wander. And then when he was about to fall asleep, the key would drop out of his hand and hit the floor with a loud noise, and he would wake up and write down all his weird dreams, and then he would build on those ideas in the focus mode, and I guess it was very effective for him. Now, you may say that, sure, Dali is an artist. What does it have to do with me? I'm a scientist. Well, Edison did the same thing. He'd sit in a chair with some ball bearings in his hand, and as soon as he fell asleep, the ball bearings would fall out of his hand, and he would wake up, and then he would write all his ideas down, and then switch to the focus mode and refine them. So another thing most of us are familiar with is procrastination. It has to do with feeling overwhelmed, anxiety, a large task that you don't want to do. So another very basic, effective way to fight procrastination is called the Pomodoro technique. It involves separating your large task into 25-minute chunks with 5 or 10-minute breaks in between, and it's the most effective way to take on large tasks. So we learn more with active engagement. So if you're sitting through a lecture and you're not quite understanding everything, one technique is to ask a question, and you will understand the material more just by the discussion that ensues. Another method when you're reading a text that you're trying to digest is to use the recall method. Read the text through once and then see how much you recall before you read through it again. It's more effective than reading it multiple times. If you have writer's block, one way to combat this is you want your diffuse brain to be driving the writing. So do not edit while you write. There's also a website called Write or Die, and a software notices that you've stopped typing, and the screen makes annoying sounds until you start typing again. So you won't be editing while you're writing. It also gives advice about learning new languages. One reason children are quicker to pick up on languages is because they're not afraid of making mistakes, and they're not perfectionists like most adults. Also, it says use mnemonics instead of just plain memorization. Like in German, the word for table is Tisch. So if you imagine a table made out of tissues or something like that. There's also a website called Memrise that they vote on the mnemonics up or down, the most effective mnemonics to use when you're learning a new language. Also, when learning a large amount of information, new information at once, it recommends chunking, like taking the information and breaking it up into chunks and learning it in smaller parts. This is a more efficient use of your short-term memory. So I've just taken a couple pieces of information to share with you guys. It's not the whole course, obviously. Also, you can find more facts at brainfacts.org. All right, and that's the conclusion. Thank you.